So last time we talked about order of operations, and I want to talk about it again. But I'm going to talk about some specific examples. Again, just a reminder, we're talking about order of operations, and the way we understand what we do first is PEMDAS. That's how some people remember it. I've actually remembered it using the acronym, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Some people use that. Or you can just say PEMDAS, that helps people remember. But basically what that tells me is if I have parentheses, I do that first. Then I do exponents, then multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So this is the order that I do specific things. Because we learned that sometimes if we do different orders, we get different answers. So we need to know what order we do first. And again, parentheses is the rule breaker. It tells me I can do addition before division or multiplication. I just have to have a set of parentheses. So let's look at these two examples here. I have two examples. And if you look at this, okay, you may say, all I have is division and addition. Okay, and here I have addition, and division. Okay, so they look, some may even think that they are exactly the same. Okay, they're not, but I'm going to explain why. And what we're going to talk about here is the invisible P. Okay, and what I mean by that is the invisible parentheses. So if you look here, you don't see any parentheses, okay? And you may think, okay, so if there's no parentheses, okay, there's no exponents, so we got to do multiplication and division first. We don't have any multiplication, so we do division, okay? If you don't know this, just to explain, 1/3 is the same thing as 1 divided by 3. So this is division, okay? So I would do this first, then this, and then add them together, okay? And if I do that, I get 1/3 plus 2/3, which is 3/3, which is equal to 1. Okay. So division, again, I did division first, 1 divided by 3. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it as a fraction, 2 divided by 3. Okay, and then we add those together. Okay. But if you look here, we have the same numbers. We have addition and division. Okay. Only difference is instead of that addition being in the middle here, we've put addition on the top and the bottom of a fraction. Okay. And so some people may say, well, again, I don't have any parentheses, I don't have any exponents, don't have multiplication, so I'm going to do division first. Okay? So some people may say, well, if I do division first, I can do 1 divided by 3, and then 2 divided by 3, and then add them together. Okay? But that's wrong. And the reason it is the invisible P. Anytime you have a fraction, everything in the numerator of that fraction is in parentheses. So this fraction here, we need to understand that this is not just 1 plus 2, okay? It's 1 plus 2 in parentheses, okay? So there is actually this invisible P, or invisible parentheses, when we're dealing with fractions. And then here, we also have parentheses over everything in the denominator. So this is not the exact same thing as this. And sometimes it'll be written with parentheses, and sometimes it won't. But we need to understand that there's this invisible P that's happening. Okay, there's a parentheses that we don't see. And so what we would do here, remember we have to do what's in parentheses first. So 1 plus 2 is 3. That scared me. I'll wait for that to finish. Okay, and then we have here 3 plus 3, which is 6. And that gives us 1/2 if we reduce it. Okay, so we had the same operations. We just had this invisible P, which is parentheses. And so just want to make sure everyone understands that. Anytime you have a fraction, if you have an expression in the numerator, you need to do that first. It's got this invisible set of parentheses around it. You need to do it first. Also, I want people to understand what this would say if I wrote it with using the division sign. Okay, so instead of using a fraction, what would that look like? Okay, so what this would look like, and I'm going to use a different color so it's easier to see. What this would look like is this is 1 divided by 3 plus 2 divided by 3. These two expressions mean the same thing. Okay, so this would also give me 1. Okay. This, this on the other hand, I would have to write 1 plus 2 parentheses divided by 3 plus 3. And you can see the difference. Here I did 1 divided by 3, whereas here I had to put the 1 plus 2 in parentheses. So this is represented here, and then this blue here is represented by this one here. So there is a difference. And the main thing to understand is when I have a fraction, sometimes I won't have these parentheses here, and I have to understand that if it's in the numerator, it's really in parentheses. Okay? If it's in the denominator, then it's really in parentheses. Any expression in the numerator or the denominator is in parentheses. And I need to do that before I divide. Okay? Because remember, fraction line is division. Okay? And when I translate this back here, I'm just translating it the way it's written. Anything in parentheses, I have to put it in parentheses if I was to somehow want to write it in this way. So these two mean the same thing. And so I just want to make sure that's kind of understood. Okay? I think that's it.